Hey everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and I have another book haul for you today. I have what I'm calling a very build your library book haul. The bulk of these books, like pretty much almost all of them, save maybe 3, are intended for Build Your Library Level 11. I am currently in the just up to my ears in Build Your Library's Level 11. I am working on it. It's ideally will be ready this summer. I know it's going to be ready this summer. I don't know when this summer. It'll be out before the next school year. So I have just been kind of going crazy trying to figure out what I'm using, what books I need, what books I already have, and so I have acquired a lot of books. Not all of these will be in Level 11. But some of them will. It's like putting together a puzzle, basically. I have the big plan, the big picture in my head of what I want, and then it's a matter of what fits and what doesn't. So I have a lot, and I have even more that I've already bought from before or books I've already owned, so there's a lot. They're not all going to be in Level 11. But, you know, so that's my caveat. Like, don't look at this pile and go, oh my gosh, that's what I need to buy. No, don't yet. Just wait. I'll tell you the official book list once I've narrowed everything down. So, I'm just going to dive in. I should probably start with the books that have nothing to do with Level 11. Yeah, it would be like 4 books. 4 books out of this monster haul. Okay, so these are, I bought My Secret War Diary by Flossie Albright, My History of the Second World War. I got this from my youngest, who is on a World War II kick right now. I don't know how much we'll use out of this. It's kind of cute. She likes the idea of it. It's written exactly like in the style of a journal. And it looks handwritten, and there's little lift the flap things throughout that have little notes in them. I also picked up the sequel to The War That Saved My Life, which is The War I Finally Won by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. I loved the first book. I have a full review of it. If you want to watch that, I'll link it for you somewhere in here. And I've been wanting to get this. I kept putting it off because I was like, oh, sometimes, you know, you love a book so much that it doesn't really need a sequel. And then when you find out there is one, you're both excited and anxious at the same time. That's my feelings about this. I want to read it. I hear good things. But at the same time, I'm like, that book was perfection, as is. Does it need a sequel? Does it? I don't know. But I have it, so I'm probably going to read it soon. And then finally, the last 2 books that have nothing to do with Level 11 is 2 of these from the Gothic Fantasy series, I guess is what they're called. My husband has been collecting these for me, and they are gorgeous on my bookshelf. I'll have to take a picture of that shelf sometime and put it on Instagram so you guys can see it. These were, he pre-ordered for me a couple of months ago, and they came in. This one is Pirates and Ghosts, and this one is Agents and Spies. So these are all short stories by various authors. This one is Arthur Conan Doyle, G.K. Chesterton, Ellen Wood. These are just beautiful books. And these are by the Flame Tree Publishing. And you can find them on Amazon. There's lots of great short stories in these, and they're beautiful on a bookshelf. So now I'm just going to get on into it here. The rest of the books I'm about to show you I've purchased for something to do with Level 11. Level 11, Build Your Library, is going to be the second half of world history. It's going to start at around the 1500s, late 1400s, so you start with the explorers, Columbus, that time period, and all of that, going through modern day. There's a lot of history to cover, like a lot of history to cover. It's crazy. I'm like, how? You almost really need 4 years to do it justice, but I'm making it fit in 2. So I have a lot, and I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I'm just going to show you what I got. I have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I don't need to explain too much. This goes along with the French Revolution. It's a classic I have never read. So these next 2, this is Escape from Aleppo by N.H. Senzai. And I read her book, Shooting Kabul. I used it in something, I don't know, maybe level 4, I think. I think it's in level 4 of Build Your Library. And that one is about a little boy who's escaped Afghanistan to come to America, and his little sister gets left behind in Afghanistan, and they have to rescue her. It's beautiful. And so when I saw she had a new book out about Aleppo, I was excited because I'd already had this one in my cart, which is A Land of Permanent Goodbyes by Atia Abawi. And so they kind of went together. I don't actually know if these are going to make it into level 11 or either one. But I loved the idea of having something about what was happening in Syria at the end. I don't know if they'll fit, if one of them will fit. This one's more middle grade, this one's more YA. So this one would probably be a better fit overall, but honestly, they're just, I really want to read both of them. We only have 36 weeks, so it's hard. It's hard. This is challenging, guys. There's so much that I want to include. I also have King Leopold's Ghost, a story of greed, terror, and heroism in colonial Africa. This is by Adam Hochschild. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I've heard it's fantastic, it's well written, it's very readable, it reads like a novel. I've heard all those things said, so I'm really excited to pick it up. This is all about the scramble for Africa and how, all the European countries wanted to place a stake in Africa and take something for themselves. And this one is specifically about the King of Belgium, King Leopold, who did some pretty heinous, horrible things in his efforts to take a piece of Africa for himself. I also, in my pile, have Rebel Queen by Michelle Moran, and this one is about the colonialism in India when Great Britain was coming in and conquering all the land, and this is about a Queen Lakshmi who raises armies to fight back. And I don't know, I've heard good things about it. The cover is kind of killing me though, because this looks like a romance novel, and I don't want to turn teenage boys away. I think it sounds like a really great feminist, hero story about a woman fighting for her country in the midst of, European colonialism. And I think that's a great topic, and I really want to cover that and have some kind of way to bring that to life. But yeah, this cover makes me think romance novels, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But I'm hoping the book is good enough to overcome that. This next one, again, I love the topic. I think this book sounds fantastic. But it is ridiculously long, and I'm nervous that this is going to be overkill. And that's Neil Stephenson's Quicksilver. This is the first in a series. This book is huge. It's 900 some pages, so it is really long, but I hear it's fast paced, so I'm hoping that it doesn't feel like a really long book once you're in it. The reason this spoke to me so much is because it's about the Royal Society, and it's got a lot of science, and so it says, I'll just read you the back, because that's kind of what pulled me in. Quicksilver is a story of Daniel Waterhouse, fearless thinker and conflicted Puritan, pursuing knowledge in the company of the greatest minds of Baroque-era Europe, in a chaotic world where reason wars with the bloody ambitions of the mighty, and where catastrophe, natural or otherwise, can alter the political landscape overnight. That sounds fantastic. So this is sort of a science fiction, fantasy, epic, about the Royal Society and the Baroque era in Europe, and it sounds awesome. But it's so big. If you've read this, let me know what you think about it. I'm a little bit intimidated, to be honest, but it just sounded like such a great fit that I bought it anyway, despite my intimidation. The book was recommended to me by a commenter who I greatly respect. I used to read her blog way back in the day, so I had to buy the book when she told me about it. And so this is The Lost King of France, How DNA Solved the Mystery of the Murdered Sons of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette by Deborah Cadbury. This book sounds really, really cool. It's about the French Revolution, but it's one of those micro histories where it takes just one part of that story and delves really deeply into it. And I love that there's a lot of science in it, and it sounds fascinating. Again, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit or not. It just sounded cool, and I got excited, so I bought it. I don't know yet. I have to read it and see what I think. The spine is the cartoon history of the modern world, and so there's topics that come up that I'm like, ooh, I really want to focus on that. And one of the topics is the beginnings of electricity, and so my brain immediately goes, this book sounds perfect. Tesla versus Edison by Nigel Cawthorne. I think this book looks incredible. Oh, it just looks so pretty, and it's like almost written like a newspaper, and so much information and photographs, and I think this looks awesome. And so I'm hoping it'll fit, because I also got, this is The Last Days of Night by Graham Moore. This is historical fiction, and it's about this battle going on between Tesla and Edison. And it sounded like a lot of fun. Again, I don't know if this is gonna fit. I kind of like the idea of it, but I don't know if it quite belongs here. I always overbuy. I have To End All Wars, A Story of Loyalty and Rebellion, 1914 to 1918 by Adam Hochschild. This is the same author as King Leopold's Ghost. I didn't realize that at the time that I bought it, and after I got both books, I'm like, hey, that's the same author. So this is about World War I, obviously, and I liked the idea of having something on World War I, because I feel like it's often kind of rushed over in order to get to World War II, which seems to be the more interesting war for some reason, which, yeah, you do get a lot more books written about World War II. But World War I is what led to World War II. I would really like to include something on World War I. So this is what I have for that. It's, again, supposed to be really readable. I also picked this one up. This is a little bit younger. This is The War to End All Wars, World War I by Russell Friedman. I love Russell Friedman's books, but they're a little more middle grade, I think. But this one has so many fantastic photographs. Like, almost every single page has a photograph. So part of me kind of wants to use this. If you think this would be too young, though, let me know in the comments. But I think, like, this book here would appeal more to my boys. But I don't know what would appeal to other people's kids. So I don't know. Teens can be tricky. So I want to make sure I don't use books that they're going to feel are babyish. So World War II, I have World War II in 500 photographs. I like the idea of keeping this short and sweet, because there is a lot of information, but it's also like one of the most well-documented wars in that time period. I mean, you get so many pictures in here of all aspects of the war. So I thought this would be a great resource. I have Nothing to Envy, Ordinary Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick. I feel like it's an important topic we need to cover, because there's so much in the news about North Korea, and so many people don't really understand, like, what is going on there. I have only recently started reading about it myself. You hear things in the news, and, you hear stories about, like, how crazy it is there. But you have to go to the source. You have to humanize it, and you have to be able to put a face to what's actually happening for people to really get it. So I want people to be able to empathize with their plight and what's happening. So I thought this would be a really important book to cover. On that same note, I have Palestine by Joe Sacco. Again, I don't know yet. I bought this on recommendations I'd seen online, and as soon as I got it, I was like, I don't know if I like the art in this, to be honest. To me, this seems too busy. I have a hard time with graphic novels. They need to be a certain way for me to really be able to get into them, and stuff like this, it's just so busy. I don't know if my brain can take it in. I might not be able to actually read this, but I really wanted to include something about what's happening in Israel and Palestine, because I feel like everyone has a very polarizing idea of what they think should happen or what they think is happening. There's got to be a way to explore this topic where you look at it almost neutral, like, this is what's happening, just this. Instead of like, oh, I'm pro-Palestine, or oh, I'm pro-Israel, or, one side or the other. I really think it's important for teens to see all the facts and then be able to draw their conclusions from that. And so I've been looking for stuff. This is supposed to be fairly neutral, but again, after flipping through, I'm like, oh, it's hurting my eyes. And that's not a knock at the artist or anything like that. It's just, that's how my brain sees the images in here. I have a hard time with graphic novels. So I might have to look. If you know of any books that cover this topic, let me know, because I'd love to have something. I just don't know what, and I'm having a hard time finding what I'm looking for. I want fairly neutral. I know that's impossible to ask of a history source to be neutral, but I would like something that's definitely not pro one or the other, if possible. Something that gives you both sides of the story. It can be fiction, it can be nonfiction. If you know of something, let me know. And the last book in this haul is Wild Swans, Three Daughters of China by Jung Chang. This covers 3 generations of a family living in China. It's a true story. It's a memoir that the author has written about her own family. Her grandmother was a warlord's concubine. She had her feet bound and all of those things that came with being in China, being a woman in China during that time period, to her mother, who was a member of the communist elite, to growing up herself during the Cultural Revolution in China. And it sounds fascinating. I'm obsessed with reading about Chinese history. I love, I read all of Lisa C's books that I could get my hands on. I think that time period is just fascinating, and I want more. And so I thought this would be a pretty good place to go for that. So I'm hoping it's good, and it may or may not fit. Like I said, it's a puzzle. I have to put the puzzle together. Those are the books that I have acquired over the last several weeks.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have 19 books. This is ridiculous. It's a little bit too much. I don't know why I put them all in my lap like this, but whatever possesses me to do that. So those are all the books that I've acquired over the last few weeks. My to-read list right now is beyond insane, and I'm literally up to my eyeballs in books that I need to get through in the next couple of months. Have you gotten any new books lately? I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye. And there goes all the books.